All right, everybody, starting with a little montage of Jacob getting our beautiful, heavily greased 5.3 torn apart right here with the, getting all the internals out. And I'm going to show you how it looks here in a second. The episode's going to be a little bit disjointed, as are all my episodes, but this is like about a week long from us working on the car and trying to get everything fit in, get an idea of what we got to do to get it fit in, and me working alone a bit to, get the engine all cleaned up and ready to go and assemble it. And I think that pretty much covers this. So we end up with a clean short block ready to be assembled and a few other things kind of worked through as we go along. So as always, appreciate you guys checking out the video, and be sure to stop by the store, monkeyfabgarage.com. If you got a second or you're into this kind of stuff, your support is always appreciated. So with no further ado, back to the video. This guy. So, like I said last night, we're a little concerned about the lifters. That one bucket was not bolted down all the way, and it was allowed to shift. But if you think about it, the lifters are pretty tight in the bore there, and they hold down. As long as they're not allowed to rotate, then they should be okay. And they were. It would be obvious. You just roll the roller around, take a look at it, and if there's anything wrong with it, it's going to stand out. But these guys are good, so that's good. We're going to just keep those lifters. You guys might be wondering a little bit like, oh, well, has it gotten any better, Mike? And the answer is no. It really hasn't gotten any better. The inside's just like this. But I like these guys. Like I was telling, I hate these. They'll make these plates, these stupid, chamfered Torx heads or Allen heads, and they always strip out. You have to use an impact driver to knock those ones with the screwdriver kind of thing that you hit with a hammer that kind of hits them in and turns. But this guy, obviously is just the little 10mm bolt, so that's great. That'll be easy to get in and out. And she looks pretty good. She has a nice healthy coating to keep her well preserved. But other than that, looking good. Here we go.
Dude, they must put Slick 50 in this.
You can reach your hand on the, there you go. Chunky. That's it. So, I don't see, you can see it looks like a little thinner on these guys, maybe in one spot, but it's been wearing here forever, so that's fine. I don't see anything really weird. All the actual the surfaces look good. None of the bearings came out, which is nice, because I know some of you guys have seen GM uses those little split bearings that they would install, and a lot of times you pull out these cams and you might get a bearing or two come out with us, but it looks like all of our bearings. You want to finish pulling that guy out of there, Jacob? And remember, always look at your cam bearings, see if they're good. And it doesn't want to focus, but just trust me, they look great. They look awesome. So we're going to reuse everything there. We're just going to shove the cam back in, and we're basically in a rebuild mode right now. And we'll have to take the windows tray off the bottom, and we'll have to cut that to make sure that it fits our new pan, because these truck pans have a lot more space in the front of them than the aftermarket pans do. So usually you have to cut it back a little bit on the windows tray, like what's in the Phoenix. And then we just need to reinstall the camshaft. We'll probably have to clean the chain and the gears set a little bit so we can figure out where the dots are. But other than that, we should be good.
From an engineering standpoint, do you think there's any way those mounts could be improved?
I don't want to be that guy, Jacob. All right, so the engine mounts, We got those guys. They had basically studs welded in all the little spots, and I didn't like that because I was gonna have to drop the whole steering, basically steering rack and whatever, just to get to the back side of these guys. So we just cut the bolts, the studs out, and opened the holes up so they'd fit. And now we got these guys mounted in there. So we got to put a couple bolts in, and we'll get our foamy boy up in here. And then once the foamy boy's in here, we can start getting the the hunk of turd transmission on the hunk of turd transmission jack, and trying to figure out how much custom body work it's going to take to get her up in there. Let's take a look underneath and see how we're doing. Boy, that pan is right on.
Oh, I think I got to tighten the yeah, it's close, but I think it's going to let me pull this hammer.
The short block right here and this transmission. So there's a few things we need to do. We need to reassemble this with a cam and the good cylinder heads and springs and all that stuff. So and then we got to take this transmission and try to shoehorn it up behind here. I got the foamy block. Boy, I'll show you guys that. So you'll see the what I'm getting at is how small this bell housing area is, and we need to get to here. This has got some pretty good tilt. It's got too much tilt. It's got like 5-6 degrees, so it actually needs to kind of tilt like this forward. So we're at more like 3 degrees. So this is gonna kind of go up a little bit, which is gonna mean that we need to clearance all this right here out. You notice none of your homies show up on degreasing day. I ain't mad though. Just as long as the homies know that I don't show up on degreasing day either, you know. Nothing personal. Just nothing personal, but I guess degreasing is a personal type thing. So I'm all covered in grease and I'm soaking wet because you've seen that we've been power washing all the horribly greasy parts. So that's all the stuff we needed to get. And then the push rods and the rollers roller lifters, are in the ultrasonic cleaner inside a tub of lacquer thinner, getting nice and clean. So you'll see this guy, it's nice and clean. And I told myself, I said, self, don't take the lifters apart. You don't want to look in there. And I did take it apart and I did look in there and it was disgusting. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take one out of the ultrasonic cleaner because it's about time for them to come out. They're pretty much clean, and just take it apart, hose it down with some brake cleaner, and put them in a bag now that they're all nice and clean. And once I get them all, spot free, ready to go back in the bore, I'll probably throw some oil in the bag and just kind of let it sit in some oil or something like that. Here is our lifter out of the ultrasonic cleaner. It's not bad, looks nice and clean. Everything's spinny spin, and if you look here, wire that goes around, a little snap ring, and it's split on one side, and all you got to do to get this guy out of here, the plunger and spring and everything, is just pop that guy out. So we'll do that real quick. Reading glasses so you can see, you old blind ass. So I just get it on one side, I just kind of scoop underneath there, try to get the screwdriver out from underneath it, and it's going to pop out. So I'm going to put my thumb so you guys can see that. No, of course not, because it's not focused. There. So we just walk that guy. Okay. What's the chances of that? It just literally flung through the air. So yeah, be careful with these guys, because you can lose them, and then you're pretty well screwed. I don't think they sell replacement boys. So then you got this plunger right on the top. It pops out. There's another plunger on the inside. Being a little bit of a booger, I'm gonna take these guys and kind of pry them open. And just kind of use it to walk that plunger out. So that's how it comes out, just like that. And you'll see you got a nipple on one end. There is little breather ports. So there's like 3 breather ports around this guy, and on the inside there is a ball bearing. There's no way you guys are going to be able to see in this, but that ball bearing has to go down to release the pressure on the inside of this. I do believe, and that's what happens with the oil pressure. It goes in there and then it gets bled off somehow, some way. I don't really understand. And last piece in here is a spring. You'll usually get oil or bar saw or something in there, and then there's just a spring. So all we're going to do is just clean all that goo out of the inside of these parts and then put it back together. The push rods, you guys can see how nice and clean they are. They were totally, I don't know if you guys remember, but they were like, they're about that big around. It was just grease and burnt oil and gunk. And then we got all of our lifters in here, nice and clean. We pulled all the plungers and stuff. And like I told you guys, yeah, so we just got cleaning. We just went on a cleaning kick. I'll show you all this unless you guys saw me power washing this stuff, and it looks nice. So now we have a nice front cover. We got to put our sills in there and the back cover. We got valve covers. Not all that horrible. We got this guy. This guy was a disaster. Like, I literally scraped probably a ½ pound of oil off of this thing. Just crunchy, grungy oil. We got to cut this guy so we can fit our oil pan. The Holley oil pan needs it clipped a little bit. So we'll take a measure about where we're at in the oil pan up. Yeah. And we'll cut this guy down so it'll fit. And then we got our rocker assembly cover guys. You want those clean because you don't want any space between them and your valves. You want to make sure it's all nice and clean. So we did that as well. And I left the rockers. Basically what we do if I have to, I got these rockers here and they're in pretty good shape. Where are they at? Where are you at? I have them here, yeah. So I've already cleaned these guys up. They might even have trunnion upgrades in them. I don't remember, but it doesn't really matter. As long as they're LS1 and not LS3, we'll be good. So that means basically we're ready to install the cam. Unfortunately, it's pretty late. It's almost like 6 o'clock. I literally spent all day cleaning this stuff. Camshaft, engine build, basically tomorrow. I don't feel like messing with it too much more tonight. At least we got all the hard stuff is just cleaning and making, you know, this stuff useful. So every time we touch it, it's not an absolute disaster. The block, just like we left it, it is nice and clean. So that's it for now. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to check out the website. It's Monkey Fab Garage. monkeyfabgarage.com. monkeyfabgarage.com. It's monkeyfabgarage.com, guys.